This may be a mess right now, but it's going to be transformed very soon into Dracula's castle. Very spooky. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog. It's vlog number 424 for September the 29th, 2025. Just about to the last day of September. And what everybody says is, where has this month gone? Well, anyways, I know where mine has gone because it's been working on various projects. Of course, I'm still working on Stormy Sea, and here it is so far, all the blocks. Now, you'll notice the one in the center, of course, is a huge block, and we'll talk about this block tomorrow in a little bit more detail and a little bit more about Stormy Sea and my progress, but it's coming. Let's just say that it's coming along. Will I have it done by Christmas? I hope so. And as a little palette cleanser and experiment, I saw this file on, now I'm not sure which site it was. I think it was Urban Threads, actually, and it was on sale. And it's placemats, so I downloaded it and tried it out. Now, their original version was done as a Halloween kind of thing, so it used a black background, and they used shades of black and a plum, and there were spider webs included with the design. I didn't put in the spider webs because I didn't really want it to be Halloween, and in my mind I thought of this as being a great additional gift to go with the table runner I'm working on for my hairdresser. It's in the sages and the aubergines, but I'm not going to do that now. And tomorrow on Idiot Quilter, I will tell you all about that as well. So this was just a little sneak peek at some of the things that I've been doing. And as I said, tomorrow, more details on Idiot Quilter. Okay, so that takes me to YouTube channel of the week. And you know how I love tech. I'm into anything that's a machine I love, and I found this particular video clip extremely appealing to me for two reasons. One, it's about tech, but it was about tech that one will see and can purchase in Japan. And since next spring Walter and I are off to Japan, we might want to check out some of these things because it looks fascinating. So this is called I Bought the Craziest Tech in Japan. Check out my review of it. I think I've mentioned that Walter and I are off to Japan next May, and we're really looking forward to the trip. But in the meantime, we've been doing a lot of research about Japan, and on the YouTube, of course, there's lots of information about that. But what I did find on here that was really interesting is Mr. Who's the Boss channel, which I've mentioned before, did a review of what he bought in Japan. He said, I bought the craziest tech in Japan. And this is really interesting if you're into technical gadgets, electronics, all that kind of thing, because Japan has some of the weirdest and most interesting things that you can buy. And they are really leaps and bounds ahead of us here in North America when it comes to the electronic industry and electronic gadgets. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I strongly suggest that you watch this video clip called I Bought the Craziest Tech in Japan by Mr. Who's the Boss. So you will find the link for that in the show notes below. You'll also find the link for Sewing with Stephen. I noticed that I had made not a mistake, but something I had not noticed and has always been there. When I first started Sewing with Stephen, I had a reoccurring link from Zoom. A bit of a glare on my glasses here. I wonder if I can get rid of that. Yeah, that's bad. Anyways, just give me a second. Sorry about that. And I think I still have it there and it's driving me nuts. But anyways, at least it's not demonized. And those of you that have been around know what I mean by that. Anyways, what I was saying is the Sewing with Stephen link used to say it was a reoccurring link. Now, what that meant was I didn't have to put it in every week on the Zoom schedule. It was always the same. And it still is the same link as always. It's just I've changed it now so it tells you the time. It didn't say that before. And I think for some new people, they got a little confused by that. It may have looked like it was 24/7. Well, it's not. And the reason I think that is because every now and then I get a notification in my email from Zoom that someone was trying to get into the link. And of course they couldn't. Now they may have been testing out their system just to see if what it did with Zoom, or maybe they thought, yeah, it was a 24/7 thing. Either way, I just cleaned up that one line. The link is still the same. It just tells you the time now, just, to avoid some confusion. And if you were one of the people confused by that, I'm sorry. I didn't even think about it, didn't realize it. Okay. Let's go down. Anything else that's in the links? Well, of course, there's the links to everything that I'll be talking about today or there, and there's links to last week's past videos. Okay, so that takes me to what the weather's looking like, and let's just say it's dark. Yes, it is dark. It is dark because the days are growing shorter, and here in my area, I don't think we put the clocks back an hour until about the first week or so in November. Need to look that up. So it's hard to tell what the weather is like out there, although you can see, I think my camera's a little misty. Yeah, it looks a little foggy-ish. I don't think that's the weather. I think that's just on my camera outside. But according to the weather report on my phone on the app, right now it is currently 9 degrees C, so that's a bit brisk. And we're going to a high, though, of 24, which is nice. Very pleasant. And it's sunshiny all day today. There's no rain in the forecast for today, and none for tomorrow, none for Wednesday, none for Thursday, none for Friday, none for Saturday, none for Sunday, none for Monday, none for Tuesday, none for Wednesday. Wow. We are going to be dry. But the temperatures look like they're all what they would say as seasonal, the highs, where our highest is going to be for this week, 24, which is today. And then it drops a little down to about 18 midweek and comes back up to 23 by next Monday. So, yeah, it's that time of the year, isn't it? And we're getting closer to, well, it's October. So in October, all my fall and Halloween decorations come out. So probably about Thursday this week, maybe sooner. I might pull out a few things today and do a little bit of a inventory to see what I've got and where I'm going to put everything. And yeah, and when that all gets up and put up, you'll see it, because I'll make a little video so you can see what this year's Halloween and fall decorations look like here. And I have one that I'm very excited about that's brand new, and I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. But right now, I want to talk a little bit about what's pissing me off. Let me clear my throat for this and have a coffee. Oh, and let me switch the camera, shall we? There we go. Okay. Cleared my throat. So, if you saw Stephen and Walter live yesterday on Sunday, you know we spent a great deal of our time discussing a situation we found ourselves in when we went on the shop hop, and with one particular store owner. Now, I'm not going to get back into that again because we talked about that extensively yesterday. But needless to say, it made me start to think about, we have to be so careful in this world with what we say. Because maybe one thing to us is just a minor comment, or a off the hand or off the cuff kind of comment, or something we think's funny. Other people don't. And the people who don't and who go really ballistic on you over something so minor are the people, sorry about my throat, they're just super sensitive. Okay? And people today seem to be too sensitive. They immediately fly off the handle over whatever. And we see that on the news, we see it in the media all the time, because people are out protesting this, that, and the other thing. They're writing things about something someone has said or done. Now, sometimes those are things that, are important. But 9 times out of 10, on an everyday basis, when people get upset over things, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. They're just too super sensitive. And I don't know why that is, why we've become so sensitive to things. Maybe it's because our society is constantly talking about being sensitive to people's religious backgrounds, their ethnic backgrounds, their race backgrounds, all these kind of things. We need to be sensitive to what's happening in the environment. We need to be sensitive to what's happening in other places in the world. We just need to be sensitive people. We need to be sensitive to the opposite sexes. We need to be sensitive to people who are in marginal groups. We're told this all the time. And if we slip up and say something that can be considered insensitive, people blow up at us. You know, used to be jokes. Think about the jokes you heard when you were a kid. Yes, a lot of those jokes were racist. At the time, we didn't think of them as that, but there was nobody standing over top of us pounding us in the head that we were being insensitive. I'm not saying it's a good idea and that we, carry on with racist ethnic type jokes and things like that. But come on. If it happens, it happens, as long as it's not said in meanness. Well, you see right there and then, the sensitive people out there are going to take issue with what I just said. Well, they're going to say, so you're saying that you should be racist, that it's okay to make fun of other people at the expense of their backgrounds or whatever. No, I am not saying that. But I know there'll be people out there that didn't just hear what I just said now. No, I didn't mean that. They'll immediately go for my jugular because that's what people do today. I think those people who claim to be sensitive are insensitive to other people who are insensitive. That make any sense? Probably not. But the point that I'm trying to make is there's a lot of conflict in this world at all levels. There's conflict, between the average person on the street, right up to major conflicts between countries. And we've seen a lot of that lately, haven't we? Maybe we need to get a little bit over ourselves. Maybe we need to grow a thicker skin. And I'm not coming at this from anywhere strange. I am a gay man. You want to talk about people being insensitive to the LGBT community? There's a lot of people out there. And if you turned around and reversed the roles on them, they would be completely irate. But they seem to think it's okay to be insensitive to the trans community, to the gay community, lesbian community, and everything in between. They seem to think that's all right. Well, it's not. However, for me personally, I have learned to let a lot of those kind of comments be like a water on the duck's back. Just go off. I could spend all my living days crying over the insensitive comments people have said about the LGBT community. And I'm not saying it's right that they should do that. It's no more right that they should do that than people making ethnic slurs, racial comments, things like that. However, look at the source it comes from, first of all. And that's usually what I do. Look at the source. Is where this is coming from worth my time and effort to correct them or whatever? And that's another problem with people who all go about other people being insensitive. It's all this, they feel they have a need to correct people. Well, that's being insensitive too, isn't it? Because a person may not even have realized they have done something. Now, again, it's a fine line. I mean, if someone has said something that is completely inappropriate and is offensive to other people, the excuse should not be, they shouldn't be excused for it. Don't excuse someone else's bad. However, how far do you take it in correcting the situation? And that's the problem at a political level too. People get really uptight because some dictator says they're going to take over this part of the world. Well, okay, maybe that's not a good example. All right, but I guess what I'm saying is pick the mountain you want to die on. Some things are not worth getting into. Now, if you're one of those kind of people that gets very sensitive to comments that are made to you, like constructive criticism, And there is a difference between general criticism and constructive. Constructive criticism, if done in the right spirit, is there to help an individual with something so they can improve. Again, fine line. How far do you go with that? If it's about someone's personality, I don't think there's any kind of constructive criticism about that, because people are people and you can't change a person's personality, I don't believe. So pick the mountain, you know? But sometimes other things like, a project or something they've done as a quilter, I'm pretty much open to constructive criticism because I want to do better. So that's good criticism. And I don't take it personally. If someone says, okay, that's nice, you should always start off with a nice comment. But, the color scheme, just there's something about it that's just not right. It's going off. It's putting me off. I don't know why. Something like that. There's ways to give constructive criticism that are, not as offensive as coming right out and going, oh my God, that's an ugly piece of crap. Why'd you do that? But again, you look at the source it's coming from and try to think about why the person might be making the comment they are. Don't immediately fly right off the handle and think that the person who's made the comment is doing it for belligerent and negative reasons. Now, if they are, well, that's a whole different ballgame, isn't it? But there's too much conflict in the world. And look where it's getting us. Yeah, it's not a nice world right now. So I guess the bottom line is grow a hide, look at the source, and pick the mountain you want to die on. Not easy to do in all cases, but if we try a little bit, maybe there could be a little less conflict in the world. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about what we're growing. Well, as I said, we're at the end of the growing season. We're pretty much there. So we've started the indoor gardens, and Walter's really thrilled with his tomato plants over on the far right. He did those in the simplest of ways. We have a tomato plant, as you know, out on our deck. We have several, but this one particular one they call it kitchen tomatoes. It produces cherry tomatoes, but the bush the cherry tomatoes are growing on is very, very low, which is ideal for under the grow lights. At least that's our theory, because we tried to grow tomatoes under our big set of grow lights, not the ones I have up here on the picture right now, but the ones there's a gnarly mess. We won't even talk about that. These ones in the workshop where we're growing peppers right now, those are adjustable. They hang from the ceiling, and so they allow for taller plants than the other grow lights. And we tried to grow regular tomatoes under those, but they just got too big and too bushy, and basically they were growing up to the ceiling. So he's hoping that these ones that he has started in this pot will do better. And he watched a lot of videos and read a lot of things about how to grow tomatoes from seeds from your own tomato plants. And they had all kinds of elaborate things, like taking them out of the tomato skin, letting them wash them, let them dry, put them in a moist paper towel or whatever, let them ferment or something like this and all this kind of stuff. Walter decided that was too much work. So he just took the tomatoes and squeezed the seeds out into the dirt. Well, now you see the result. They're coming up nice. They're good, healthy plants. I think his plan now is to transplant them into bigger pots and get them under those grow lights I just showed you. So yeah, the peppers, of course, always do well under the grow lights, but our pepper plants right now are getting kind of woody. They're getting, the stalks on them are getting kind of thick, and that's really robbing, I think. I'm not a gardener. I don't really know. So I'm making this up as I go along. No, not really, but yes, really. They're probably, sucking up all the nutrients, whatever's left in those pots, into the stems and taking it away from the peppers themselves, so these ones are not getting all that big. So I think what we're going to do, and when I say we, I mean Walter, is we'll harvest what's left in there, and he's just going to get rid of those plants and start brand new ones. And they do well under the grow lights, we have found over the last couple of years since been doing this. The other crop is lettuce. It always does well, but we have found there's a certain variety of lettuce. It's called Lake something. I want to say Lakeview, but I don't think it's Lakeview. Anyways, that particular type of lettuce does really well under the grow lights. So we'll have lettuce, we'll have peppers, hopefully we'll have tomatoes, and of course we have to plant some more basil because our basil has been sort of whipping its way in with what's left of the lettuce here, and everything's kind of gnarly. So we have to get, start fresh. Outside, we do have melons, we still have jalapenos, and we do have red hot chili peppers. Thinking of the music group, hot chili peppers. I have made several jars of pickled peppers and pickled jalapenos. I think there's enough out there. I can probably make one more jar, and that'll probably be it for the season. We're still getting cucumbers, although we've got some big suckers, and we had several of those, so we kind of took some peppers and some cucumbers over to the neighbors. And in turn, they gave us some homemade pesto. And I can't wait to try it because I love pesto. And I have made it myself before, but right now, you need a lot of basil to make pesto. And yeah, my basil I need a fresh crop for that. So that was very nice of them. And she takes her pesto and she puts it in ice cube trays and freezes it into blocks. And she brought us over 4 of those blocks, and they're good sized blocks, too. So we took them out, and Walter sealed them, put them in their own little bag, and we have one of those bag sealer things, that sucks the air out, and they're in our freezer, so ready to go. So yeah, maybe this week we'll try some of that. So anyways, what else can I tell you? The melons. The cantaloupes, they're not doing, they look healthy, but they're small. Like they're a 2-bite melon, I guess you might call it. So I don't know, but we figure, and again, when I say we, I mean Walter, that we planted them too late in the season. We should have got them. He's done some more research. So maybe next year we'll try again. But we'll see how these are once we harvest them and cut them open. And who knows what's inside of them. But it was an experiment. So, we do that all the time. So yeah, things out on the deck are looking a little, well, kind of like this gnarly mess out there, because it is getting towards the end of the season for all of this. So, yeah. So that's what we've been up to in our gardening. Oh, and one other thing I forgot to mention and show you here. Pumpkins. Yeah, now I read a report or heard something that the pumpkin crop this year, because of it's been too wet in certain parts where they grow a lot of pumpkins. I think that was it. I would have thought it was too dry, but apparently it was too wet, and the pumpkins aren't doing well. They're not getting really big. So they're saying that it may be, if you want to go out and buy a pumpkin for a jack-o'-lantern or whatever for Halloween, you might be paying a little bit more money this year for them. Well, isn't that about typical anyways? It's always something about paying more money. But these were on sale. They're pumpkin pies, or pie pumpkins. So Walter's going to make, he did it last year, and it was delicious. He's going to make pumpkin pies out of these. I don't know how many pies he'll get. I don't think very many. He may only get 1, maybe 2 with this. He has to take them and roast them, and then scoop out the stuff and make his pie filling. So yeah, and you know me, I love pie, so can't wait for that. Okay, so one more picture. Tomatoes coming out of our yin yang, and there's more still on the vine out there. Now, I just made, and plus we still have peppers, so I made last night for dinner and for tonight's dinner and for the next night's dinner, because I made a lot. I made this pepper salad. It's called panzetta. I think that's the name of it. Great salad. It's basically whatever vegetables you got laying around, and you make this dressing and sort of let it marinate in that for a few hours, and toast up some stale bread to make some. I make garlic croutons because I'm posh, and serve it. And so I did. Had red peppers, green peppers, yellow peppers, tomatoes, red onion, regular onion. What else was in it? Oh, I threw in some sliced olives, and I threw in a little bit of some cheese chunks, some Gouda in there too. Made up the dressing, which is a very simple vinaigrette. It's just Dijon mustard, vinegar. I throw in a splash of lemon juice, a little pepper, a little salt, olive oil. I think that's it. I think that's all that goes into it. Mix that all up, pour it over all of your peppers and everything, stir it up, put it in the fridge for a couple hours, and it's ready to go. And it's delicious. You top it with, actually last night I topped it with some cubed up ham and threw on the croutons that I told you that I made as well. Now it makes quite a bit, so we've got more of that this week. One little trick I found was, as it's sitting marinating in the vinaigrette, it gets a little juicy. So what I did before serving it is I got out a strainer and I just dumped it all in the strainer and let it sit there for a minute or two and just drain off some of the excess liquid. And that'll also help to keep it from going really, really, mungish sort of a thing, if that's a word, later in the week. But it's a great way to use up peppers, especially if you grow your own peppers, and whatever other things you're harvesting from your garden. So yeah, and that recipe was suggested to me by a subscriber a couple of years ago who's in the pepper industry. And yeah, it's very good. It's called pancetta, and pancetta? Pancetta's it's spelled pancetta. Here, let me look this up for you because I have it on my phone. No, I'm not going to post the recipe because you can find it. There's lots of them, but I'll just tell you what it's actually called, so it'll make it easier for you to find. Okay, it's here somewhere. Talk amongst yourselves. There it is. Panzella. Panzella. Panze. No, let me try again. Panzella. Panzanella. Panzella. So you can find it. Just Google it. Okay, put that away. And what are we going to talk about next? Let me see. Okay, new products. Well, this is just a sneaky peek at what we bought at the shop hop we went to on the weekend. And so here are the fabrics, and tomorrow on Idiot Quilter, I'm going to talk about these specifically because I didn't just buy any old thing. I was very thoughtful in my purchases this time, and you can see I didn't buy a lot. But we'll talk about that tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. Okay, but now something else that I finished up this weekend that I'm really, really happy about, and this is, can I print this 3D effing thing? Well, yes, I can. And are you ready for this? Ta-da! Dracula's Castle. This model I have been printing. There's a lot of pieces, and then some assembly, lots of assembly. This comes from the guy, you've seen some of his other creations that I purchased. This is a purchased product, at least the files for your 3D printer. Not expensive, $28 Canadian. As I said, it's called Dracula's Castle. It does light up, but I don't have any pictures of that. There's some LED lights inside of it, and it's gorgeous, and I love it. And I love making this guy's projects. Now, he goes by the name on 3D Cults, is what the site is where he puts up his models. He goes by the name Fulv. I'm not sure how you're supposed to say that. Is it Fuluv? I don't know. Um, but he is so good, which reminds me, I have to write to him today and tell him how impressed I am with this latest model. I've made, as I've said, about four others of his projects, and I have another one in the works too, called the Tuscan Villa. But this one I want to get done, obviously, for now, for Halloween, although it will sit out all year round where I now have it placed. The detail and the precision of the pieces, everything fits together like a glove. And it's so easy to put together, even though there's a lot of pieces involved. Just if you're into 3D printing and you want, it's not really a challenge, it's just time consuming. And you can do this on any 3D printer. You don't have to have a Bamboo Labs one with an AMS, because he has files for people who have single color machines as well. He has really good instructions for assembling everything and what products you might want to get. I can't say too much about him because he is excellent, just excellent. And I'm not done. There are other projects I want to make of his as well. I just don't know where I'm going to put them. Yeah, I need another house. Actually, I need two houses. One house for my fabric, one house for my 3D printings. Things. Now, I did do some other Halloween stuff because, you know, I love making Halloween stuff and Christmas stuff. So I saw these little models. They're just single color, but I printed these out too, so they will be part of my Halloween decor. And I printed not the filament, but this modular little rack you see under there, that's, you know, the blue one and the other darker black ones. These are for what they're doing right now, holding your filament, keeping them from rolling off places. But what I'm doing is I actually put them in my cupboard that I keep my filaments in, and it's much better than the way I was storing them by stacking them up on top of each other. And this keeps them from rolling out of my cupboard and crashing to the floor. So that's a practical print. That's what I would call a practical print. So that's what I've been printing this week or last week. I don't know what I'll be printing this week. I've got to keep away from the holiday theme stuff because I have a lot of it already, and you know, like Halloween, Christmas. Thanksgiving stuff, well, I have printed a few things there already too, and you've already seen those in past weeks. So moving on, I guess. Well, maybe I'll start working on the Tuscan Villa model too. Always something to do in 3D printing. It's just a question of, do you have enough room to put it all out? Yeah. And I will tell you something that makes me feel very upset by doing it. I have been watching some videos that talk about the fact that we're contributing to, as 3D printers, we are contributing to the plastic problem in the world. And we are. And, you know, we produce a lot of poop. And you know what that is, printer poop. And yeah, there are people working on how to recycle that, but it hasn't gotten to the point where, you know, it's at the domestic level and manageable. It will get that way, I say, in probably another year. And when it does, and it becomes affordable and the whole bit, I will definitely be buying some kind of system to recycle my printer poop. But otherwise, I'm sorry to say this, and I know a lot of you people who are concerned about the environment, I am too, you're going to curse me. And yes, some of this stuff goes into landfill. It's not recyclable. Yeah. So that's another thing about this. But you know, how much more of it can I have in my house? I love doing this, but this hobby is one that they now need to focus their attention on how we, you know, manage the amount of plastic that we are generating. Yeah, it's a problem. It is. Okay, so old video clips from Stephen and Walter live. Well, 'tis the season for flu shots and COVID shots. And we're already scheduled to get our flu shot in November from our doctor. Our doctor's running a clinic, and Walter got us booked in last week for a date in November, so that's going to be looked after. Now we need to book an appointments at a pharmacy to get the COVID shot. So yeah, well, back when we first started doing Stephen and Walter Live, the whole thing about flu shots, that was pre-COVID, this particular video clip. So we're talking about the flu shot and why we always make sure we get a flu shot and why everybody else should as too.
I have to reprimand now Mel here. She says, yes, we can get flu shots, but didn't take it this year.
Uh-oh.
You're a bad girl. Okay. I'm not going to get on the high horse here about flu shots, but I am so damn sick and tired of listening to people in our area saying, oh, I never get a flu shot because, that just gives you the flu. No, it can't give you the flu. It's a dead virus meant to create the antibodies in your body to fight the different strands of flu. Then someone else tells me, oh, I don't bother to get one because it never covers the flu strains that we have this year. It's all from last year. Yeah, but you've got a better chance if you do get the flu of not having it for so long. And the people who are the worst about the flu shots, and I think we talked about this once.
Yeah, we did a while ago.
Teachers and nurses, the two. I had a whole department of people. I think I was the only one that ever got a flu shot. The rest of them wouldn't bother.
I should ask my doctor next time I'm there. Does she get the flu shot?
Yeah.
Every time I go into the doctor's office, she says, oh, it's time for a flu shot. You want to get it? I already got mine before I went into the doctor's office.
Catherine says flu is bad this year, but it's only 10% effective per our local hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but that's still
10% means that I've got, I'll only be sick 90% than 100%. I don't know, but
I always told the story that one year we had it really bad, and ever since then I've always gotten flu shot. Yeah. Also because my mother was in a nursing home at one point.
Yes, and I get my mother. I take her to get her flu shot as well, but I don't want to give her anything because although there are days.
And not only that, if you travel, sometimes a lot of countries require, one of the requirements is that you get a flu shot. So yeah.
Jennifer says my father-in-law had a flu shot and got the flu, but they told him had he not gotten the flu shot, he'd be in the hospital. Yeah, but you still can't get the flu from the flu shot. Okay, I don't know what...
but he may have gotten the flu.
He may have had the flu before he had the shot.
Yeah.
Because it takes 2 weeks for the flu shot to kick in.
No, but he may have gotten the flu after he had the shot, like just a different strain.
Well, yeah, it might have been a strain that didn't. But, basic biology, I remember in grade 9 saying that the whole idea behind
immunization.
That's the word I want. That it basically puts a dead virus into you, makes your body, your system think that's a live virus, and your body's own immune system kicks in and attacks it, and that's what builds up your resistance. We went through all of this, yeah.
Okay, so that takes me to events in the past week. Well, the big event of the week was the Shop Pop. We talked all about that on Sunday on our live, the negative side of it. On tomorrow, I will be talking about my haul, as I already mentioned. And on Friday, on So Chatty, you'll see the video of the places we went to and the stores and everything like that. So that was last week. I can't think of anything else that was terribly exciting. That was the highlight. So what's coming up? Well, the retreat. This Wednesday, October the 1st, 2025, in case you're watching this in the future, there is a special video that I have that will go live on at 7 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time on this Wednesday, October 1st, that tells you everything you need to know about this year's Fall 2025 Idiot Quilter Retreat. I hope you'll watch it. It's a short video, but it basically tells you everything you need to know if you're interested in coming to the retreat, what to expect, and most importantly, how to register for it. Registration does not start this Wednesday. It doesn't start until 1 week from today, Monday, October the 6th. So please watch that video so you know everything that's happening. Later this week, well, probably on Wednesday, I will be sending out to everybody that's on my mailing list everything that I speak of in the video in written format as well. So that's this Wednesday, 7 a.m. I mean, you don't have to watch it at 7 a.m. You can watch it anytime you want to watch it. But the link for it is down in the show notes as well. But just keep in mind, you can click on that link now. But if it's before 7 a.m. October 1st, it's not going to go anywhere because it doesn't become active until then. Okay. And yeah, we're going to have a pop-up sew day on Saturday, October the 11th. So that's not this Saturday coming, it's the Saturday after that. So next week I will talk a little bit more about that again and have the link ready for you then. Okay, I don't think there's anything else more to say today, so thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great week. Tune in to Idiot Quilter tomorrow, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.